Now we can see that Overlord is easily going to get picked off by the Viking. What can I do? He's decided to secure himself an expansion. I've got myself a Spire. What have we got? At the moment we've got about the same amount of workers, whereas he's got himself Viking for 5 siege tanks. I've only got myself 4 Hydralisks, 5 Roaches, so I haven't got much to take on what he has at the moment. If he attacked now, I'd probably be in trouble. What I'm really waiting for is the Spire to go up and maybe go to Mutas. But I'm also getting the Infestation Pit because I know Terran, I know the siege tanks are absolutely incredibly hard to fight against as Zerg. So yeah, overall, if I can get away with it, I want to be going for Broodlords, basically. Broodlords and Corruptors, because those are endgame units, so they're good in that sense, and they're actually very effective against siege tanks. They're basically the only thing that Zerg have against siege tanks, because it's effectively a siege unit, because it attacks from such a long range, plus it has the advantage of being in air. But it is also quite vulnerable to Vikings here. He's going to be doing a bit of nasty harass here. Don't think I'm reacting quite quick enough there. There we go. But I'm still not going to be able to kill that Viking very fast with the Queen. But he decides to move off anyway. Got a few kills. It's a little extra bonus for him. Pesky Viking. So what can we see? Myself, I'm taken to Hive. So obviously I'm going to be wanting to try and get that Greater Spire. You need to get yourself to Hive. Then you need to get yourself the Greater Spire. And then you can start changing Corruptors into Broodlords. So it's quite a long way to tech. So luckily my opponent is sitting inside of his base. He's getting himself another command center. So he's going for the macro route himself. Heavy economy. And that's basically what I'm doing myself, except I'm starting to save and spare as many resources as I can. Trying to keep them about even, because Corruptors and Broodlords are roughly about the same amount of Thespian gas and minerals. So yes, that's one of my plans. I'm going to be breaking down these destructible rocks because I can get access to this higher ground easier, and I can expand there as well. And it'll be easy to defend it in case the opponent comes from this way. As you can see, look at the spore creep tumors rather. I've been spreading them like mad. I mean, this is all part of Zerg macro. I mean, if you can handle this, then do it. It does take a lot of effort, in a sense, when you're having to consider the fact that you have to do all the other things as Zerg. Units, macro, mechanics, etc, etc, etc. So if you can look at all these creep tumors, basically spawning them almost whenever they're ready. So as much as possible, so that way I can basically convert the entire map into my playground. So what is going on? I've fallen behind massively on drone count now, although I've just gone and spammed a whole ton of drones thanks to spawn lava, but they're sitting there. Probably helps if they actually go somewhere. I could have sworn I put a rally point for that, but I have now. So we see another hatchery going down whilst he's starting to move out his expansion. Is he going to go for this gold spot? Yes he is. That's the sweet spot, that is. We can see some Marines starting to move out, and already they've come into creep, so he's going to be a bit paranoid at this point when he sees tons of creep everywhere. It's going to put him off a bit. But will it? Because the siege tanks are going to basically say no to the creep and just go straight on. Yep. Siege tanks ain't scared of nothing. So I've got my spine crawlers deliberately positioned like this, because I know a lot of Terran players do like to position their siege tanks just underneath this bit and go into siege mode and get lots of free pop shots onto your hatchery. But instead he's going to do it a slightly longer way around. So I'm having to move over all of my spine crawlers because there's no way they're going to survive during that. I've got nothing to fight them with, but what have I got to fight them with? Broodlords. But they've still got to wait a while until I can get them. So I've just got to pray that he takes a bit longer before he goes in for the full out push. I'm waiting for him desperately. This is really close timing. I knew this was going to happen, but luckily I've managed to get away with it just about. Great Spire has been done. Broodlords are about to come out, and I will be able to deal with those siege tanks. He doesn't have much anti-air, just a few fours and a Viking. Don't think that's enough to deal with the amount of Broodlords, but the massive anti-air splash damage they do is nasty when the Broodlords first attack, because they're all stuck together and they take a whole load of damage, so you have to try and spread them out if you can. So there goes the Broodlords, and I'm going to be making myself Corruptors to go with them. because obviously the Broodlords are not going to hold up very well against mass Vikings, which is going to be his response. Straight away, sees those Broodlords. He's got 2 reactors on 2 starports, so he's going to be able to mass some Vikings and some good anti-air real quick. So I've basically got to do whatever damage I can with these Broodlords before they all die, basically. But at the same time, I want to focus and get myself Corruptors. I'd love to get Hydras, but Hydras aren't going to stand up to 4s and siege tanks, so I kind of have to get Corruptors to support my Broodlords. Corruptors are quite good. They're not bad, but they're nothing special when it comes to anti-air. Vikings have got the massive range, 9 range, so you can keep manipulating, going back and forth, trying to get pop shots onto my Broodlords, whilst these 4s have 10 range. So he can really manipulate that, using both the Vikings and 4's huge range to sort of like mess me over, which is what he will be doing. You can see the 4 is sitting here comfortably. He keeps pulling the Vikings back so the 4 can get shots onto those Corruptors. Not a good position for me to be in. In retrospect, I think I might have actually attacked from behind the minerals here. But no matter. This is the choice I made in the game, and I'm going to stick to it. So I want to try and take down that 4 if I can, but it's not too easy. He does take a lot of hits, and those little broodlings can't really get into the 4. I'm just about managing to produce enough Corruptors to deal with the Vikings that are coming out. Just about. But slowly but surely I am losing my Broodlords. They have been hit hard with nerf bat. They lost 50 HP and 1 armor, which is quite a big deal to be honest. So Broodlords are nowhere near as powerful as they used to be. I mean, they still have the same damage and that, which is kind of the issue that people have with them, with the little broodlings and how effective they can be against sort of units AI and messing them up. It wasn't so much the HP that was the issue, but that's what Blizzard do basically. They seem to nerf completely the wrong things. I mean, we could just take the Ultralisk for an example there. The Ultralisk had a problem getting to its enemies, so it basically died all the time before it could even reach its enemies. So what did Blizzard do? Increase its damage and reduce its HP by 150. Go figure. I don't think that's worked, because I have yet to see anyone actually make Ultralisks, so clearly that change that Blizzard didn't exactly do the trick. I've got a whole ton of drones here. I really need to get back to my base and macro and send them on their way to this mineral expansion. Oh, here they go, on their way. I've had to pull back a bit here because I cannot keep the attack on with this many Vikings. A couple of Hydras here, handy position for them to be in, get a few extra hits on those Vikings, kill a couple of them, that's really handy for me. Ah, so close to getting that orbital command, but I had to pull back due to the Viking. I mean, with the 2 reactors he can produce so many of them so fast. It was only a matter of time before I was going to lose my Broodlords and have to fall back. I've only got 1 Broodlord left by the looks of it. So, let's have a look. What's the income like at the moment? At the moment I've got quite a bit more income though, due to doing that. And I've just messed him up. He sent this command center at some point, by the way, earlier. I forgot to point that out. And just decided to spawn creep with my Overlord. That stops him from landing the command center, so he's going to have to make that, put that back to the gold line. So he's found my extra expansion, which I've only just started to saturate, which is no good for me. I can't do much with the drones apart from try to distract him whilst I bring in the Hydras and the Corruptors and the Broodlord, just to buy my actual proper army some time. But I don't think they're going to do too well against those siege tanks. No, not at all. And those Vikings are still too much of a threat. Need to pull back away from the siege tanks and the 4s and maybe try and pick off the Vikings, but can I do it? I don't know. I've got more Broodlords coming in. Now one of the tricks is also to use transfusion on your weak Broodlords, which I was doing earlier. I don't think I caught that out. But if you've got a weak... There we go, you've just seen it. Transfusion is an awesome ability. It's worth using if you can do. Especially for like keeping your queens alive against Banshee harass and such.